Hi guys, welcome back to this channel. If this is your first time seeing me, hi there, you are welcome here. I kind of want to share my experience with racism. I grew up in Ireland. I'm currently living in the UK, but I grew up in Ireland. I was born in Nigeria, but I grew up in Ireland. So I went to primary school in Ireland, went to secondary school in Ireland, and went to uni in Ireland, and I'm currently in the UK. So if I actually tried to record this video a few months, something happened to the file and it got deleted, so that's that. I also tried to record it as well, but then I felt too emotional, so I couldn't record it because I'm sure you wouldn't want to watch me just doing you know. But it's because this topic is really heavy on my heart, and with the whole ENDSARS thing, with the whole thing happening in Nigeria right now, I'm sure like it even kind of triggers a lot of those emotions again, you know. So I'll just quickly share what I experienced in secondary school. So of course this is my experience. I'm not saying this is how everyone feels, but I'm not going to lie, a lot of Nigerians, African people, they feel the same way. And if you are Nigerian and if you are African watching this video, please leave a comment below to share your experience, or to let anyone else watching this know that this is not just a once-off incident. This is something that happens on a daily, and something definitely needs to be done about it. So no matter where you are in the world, you always, in English class, right, you always have to read a particular novel. Like each year has to read a particular novel, right? And in my school we had to read this book called To Kill a Mockingbird. And you know, prior to that, I've actually never heard about the book. I mean, I've heard about the slavery that went on in America and everything. Of course, as a black person, you know, no matter how young you are, you would have heard of, you know, the slavery and all that kind of stuff, right? So, you know, I remember going into class that day, and then my teacher was like, oh, so next week we're going to start reading a book called To Kill a Mockingbird. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, you know, because you actually need to, I think the teacher came and she called me out, right? She said, oh, do you mind if I have to say a word with you? And I said, oh, no problem. So I went out to her and she said, so I was even thinking like, oh, maybe she wanted me to do something like in front of the class or something. I was thinking, I don't know about that. But she was like, can I have a word with you outside? So I stepped out, and then she was like, so we're gonna start reading a book called To Kill a Mockingbird next week. And you know, in this book, you know, kind of talks a lot about black people, the injustice that happened in America. And if at any point in time you feel extremely uncomfortable about this book, you can just come to me and I will have a discussion about it, you know. And then I still didn't realize like what exactly was going to happen, you know. So I just said, all right, no problem, you know. But looking back at it now, I thought to myself like, okay, this is a book that we have to read this book in order to like do our exams, okay? So if I didn't read this book, I can't do the exam basically. So that teacher's telling me that, oh, if I feel uncomfortable, it really made no sense, because if I feel uncomfortable or if I don't feel uncomfortable, I still have to do the exam, right? So who cares, right? As well, and trust me, if you've not read this book, To Kill a Mockingbird, please go and try and read it. I can't even go back and read it now because it's just too graphic and it just triggers a lot of negative emotions in me. The book kind of talks about a black man who was accused of rape. He did not rape the young girl. He was accused of rape, and then it goes on and on again. I don't want to talk too much about this book because it triggers a lot of emotions inside of me, and that's just the honest truth, you know. And the horrible thing that happened, right, because in that book it states like really derogatory, evil names that, you know, Americans used to kind of call black people and everything. And I will not repeat them on this in this video because I think it's really disgusting. So anyway, what ended up happening was that there was one of my classmates in particular. Hope to God she actually watches this video wherever she is in this life. Lol. So one of my classmates decided that she was going to take one or two of these quotes. So maybe in the book they called black people N-word, or they called black people this and that. So this girl decided in her mind that she was going to use this word to be calling every other black person in the school. See, that's why I realized that they should have never, ever, ever, ever told us to read. Like, this book was just something that should not have been. There's so many other things that we could have read about. We can read about, the landscape. We can read about St. Patrick. Why did we have to read about this particular book? I just didn't understand it. We already learned about Black history, slavery, and all that, that's going on in America. We learned that already in history class. So for me, reading this book in English class was a bit weird, to be honest. It really, really was, and that is my honest opinion. I'm sorry, I'm just so triggered. I'm so triggered. Like, fast forward anyway. So this girl decided to, at lunchtime in the locker room, she would be calling black people this name, blah, blah, blah. And, back then, I'm a reserved person. I don't really like violence. I don't like violence, and I don't condone it at all. And to be honest, I feel like I'm a little bit ashamed of what happened. Actually, no, I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of what happened. This is something that definitely needs to be done. So what ended up happening was, one day I got sick and tired of this girl calling me names, calling other black people names. Mind you, in my school, there was only like maybe 3 or 4 black people. Oh my God, there was only 3 or 4 black people in my school, right? So one day, as she went into the bathroom, I followed her into the bathroom, and I literally said to her, "Hey, look, I'm sick and tired of you saying it." And she was so shocked, because if you know me in real life, I'm a very chilled person. Like, before you see me screaming, shouting, fighting in public, probably never. So she was very shocked to see me, like, because I was so angry. Like, imagine day in, day out, someone is like calling you crazy names and everything. Like, it really starts to affect you. So I basically said to her, and I was like, "Don't ever, I'm sick and tired of you using that name." Guess what, guys? The girl started crying. And I'm like, "Why are you crying? Why are you crying? Do you know the pain that you have inflicted people in that school? Now you are crying." So to every young person watching this, just realize that that person in your school that is calling black people this name, saying negative things about black person, they're really not as strong as they seem. And that's just the honest truth. Really, they need to be confronted. And for me, one blah black, because they have this bullying policy where if anyone says anything to hurt you, you come tell us. And I'm not saying having a policy or whatever is not great, but for me, it's like, okay, what's the end result of that policy? Like, what are you actually going to do? You say in the policy that if someone does this, this was going to happen. But what ends up happening is that someone comes and reports the situation, and you don't even do anything about it. And it's so wrong. That's one experience I had. I'll share another experience, and then I'll go into the whole ENDSARS thing and why it's extremely triggering for me, even though I'm a Nigerian living in the UK, right? So the second experience I had with racism was, I was in the playground in secondary school, and like, this happened a lot, where one person, a girl or a guy, just decides that they don't like you, or maybe they see a black person win an award, or they see a black person achieve something. It triggers something inside someone, and the person just decided that they want to start arguing. And so I think we're in class that day, and then something happened, like we had a little misunderstanding and stuff like that. I mean, this happened years ago, so, it's been a long time. Next thing I started hearing, "Go back to your country, go back to your country, go back to your country." Oh my God. I will never forget that incident for the rest of my life. I will never, ever forget the pain I felt in that moment. It wasn't just about someone saying, "Go back to your country, go back." It was knowing that, you're moving all the way from Nigeria to a different country, you starting to kind of like establish yourself, you getting used to the culture, trying to fit in with the other kids in the playground, standing out. Like, every single negative experience I've had up to that point just kind of came together, and I was like, wow. And I got so upset in that moment, because I won't even lie, I will not even lie. When I was in primary school, I really did want to go back to Nigeria, and that's the honest truth. And I know that is very hard for a lot of people to hear or to believe, but it's the honest truth. I definitely wanted to go back to Nigeria. Yes, you'd be like, oh, you want to go back to this? I'll get to that in a minute, so just hold on. I did want to go back to Nigeria, but of course, my family was here, so it only made sense for my parents to want me to stay with my siblings, you know, to grow up with them and everything. That's just perfect. So yeah, so I'm just going to talk about the whole ENDSARS movement. I feel like I don't really need to kind of start describing what SARS, you know, what ENDSARS movement is and all that, because I feel like at this stage, every single person you've heard and you know about ENDSARS. If you don't, if you are someone who's not African and you don't know what the whole ENDSARS movement is about, I will link a video below to talk to, and that video kind of explains exactly who SARS, you know, what the whole ENDSARS movement is about and all that, right? Me, I think the ENDSARS movement is bigger than stopping police brutality in Nigeria. I feel like the ENDSARS movement is a start of speaking up about corruption, speaking up about negative things, speaking up about bad governance, speaking up about bad healthcare, speaking up about just, you know, lack of basic human rights. Like, it's just the start of a lot of things that needs to be dealt with in that country. And now I'm going to just say this. Africans or Nigerian people, I'm Nigerian, so that's why you keep hearing me say Nigerians, but trust me, this cuts across, you know, all African people. African people are extremely hardworking. African people, they are extremely bright and intelligent. African people are innovators. They're amazing people, very lively people. We have rich cultures. We have amazing natural resources. We have so much positive things, right? But the problem with our country, right, and to reply that boy that said, go back to your country, to reply that boy that said, go back to your country when I was in secondary school, I will explain to you why a lot of Africans or a lot of Nigerians cannot go back to their country, because clearly you don't understand. I'm sure you probably, you know, hopefully you're more wiser now that, you know, you're a bit older, but I will explain to you, because one thing I realized is that you're not the only person that actually feels like shouting and telling black people to go back to their country. I feel like there's a lot of white people out there who feel it's okay to be telling people who are not white to go back to their country, and I'll explain why. We're not coming here because we want to come and steal your job. We're not coming here because we want to come and steal anything that you have. We're not coming here because nobody just wakes up one day and say, oh, let me just go move to another country. Do you know what it is to leave your extended family, to leave everything that you've ever known and relocate and immigrate to another country? Do you know what that is? It takes a lot, and it affects you psychologically as well. You have to be mentally strong to be able to withstand, you know, all the negative experience that you face here. The reason why we cannot go back to our country is because of bad leadership. It's because of police brutality. It's because not everybody have equal access in our country. It's because we don't have basic things like electricity. In Europe, you have 24-hour electricity. Back home, we do not have that. So it's not that we want to come here. A lot of Nigerian people, I don't know about young people, but I feel like the older generation, if you ask them, if you really ask them, do you want to stay here or do you want to go back? They will always tell you they want to go back, but they can't. What's stopping them? They can't, because the country is not where it should be. If today Nigeria becomes the country that is 24-hour light, good health system, good roads, good security, good everything, we will come back happily. I will be the first one to pack my bag and go. We will come back because the system works and the basic human right is being like acknowledged and it's being fulfilled or whatever. So I just wanted to make this video to educate some people, young Nigerians or young Africans out there, who all you're seeing on social media is videos and clips of other young people in Nigeria who are actually out there protesting. And you feel like you want to do more, and you feel kind of, you know, down and all that, because I've definitely felt like that, you know, watch people's stories and people's posts online, and I'm like, gosh, I wish I could be there to protest. I wish I could be of service and stuff like that. So if every single white person watching this, and I'm sure I have to say white because that's just the way, you know, because I know some people get triggered when you're like, why are you calling us white? I'm sorry, but you know. So thank you to all the white people out there who genuinely, I know some white people in my life, I know some white people out there who really support the whole Black Lives Matters, who really support the whole ENDSARS movement, who truly understand, you know, the challenges that we face back home in our country. And I want to take this time out to just say we appreciate you and thank you so much. I feel like it's not enough for you to just have that standpoint or to just have that level of understanding. I feel like you need to get to a point where you educate your family members, you educate your older generation, you educate your cousins, your friends that don't understand this, so we can stop this whole, I'm laughing but it's not even funny, like for me, I just laugh just not to cry, and that's the honest truth, because the situation is sadder than sad. The whole Black Lives Matter protest and movement started. I remember overhearing someone say that, oh, Black people are always complaining about everything, we give them this and that, they're always complaining about everything. And I'm like, what? Oh my God. And again, it dawned on me that not everybody has here. You're actually a human. We're all human beings. Let's just put that out there. That's the honest truth. Black or white, we are all human beings. We are all human beings. It's just sad that in some places, Black people are not treated the way they should be, you know? Anyway, I don't want to make this video too long. Before I kind of finish this video, I want to kind of say to every young African out there who you have experienced some form of racism, whether in school, whether in your workplace, whether just randomly out on the street, I really want to say I empathize with you. I completely understand how you feel, and I'm sorry that we have to go through this, and I hope that you don't come. My hope though is that all the negative experiences that you've had, you don't let them stop you. Please continue to strive for greatness, continue to do your best, push past that racism, push past the negativity, push past it. We can, you know, just want to commend, you know, older African people, our older Nigerians, older Ghanaians, older, like, you're so strong, and thank you so much for kind of being strong, especially for us out here in Europe, you know. Thank you for being strong for us, because the level of racism some people have experienced, they should have literally just taken their bag and run back home, but they didn't. So yes, I'm just going to end this video here. Again, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please make sure you click the subscribe button below, and also turn on the notification bell so you can get updates on my next video. Again, I talk about faith, I talk about relationship, I talk about, excuse me, self-development, social injustice, and things like that.